Ah, this heat. Ugh. I know some of y'all are cold, are kind of hot out there. I'm not even cold. Here, take some air. I know I gotta clean the fan. Ah, ah, Jesus Christ. This heat. Woo! This heat defeated my fan. Uh, it's too hot. This is the summer of Necro Black. This is the Necro Black vlog. Hey folks, Necro Black here, and this is the Necro Black vlog. And I'm feeling pretty good today. I'm feeling pretty good today. Um, yeah, I just finished watching well, obviously I didn't just finish watching it. I was watching it last night. But I watched the American League beat the National League in the All-Star game last night, which is why I'm wearing this in dedication to the All-Star game, and it being Mariano Rivera, the Sandman, his last All-Star game because he's retiring this season, which I have to say thank you, Mariano, for all of the awesome memories of, watching you make all those saves. All-time saves leader, the greatest saver, the greatest closer in the game today, untouched. Even though, yes, there may be someone that may take that title. Hell, it might be Joe Nathan, because he was number 2 behind you, dude. But you know what? God bless you. God bless your family. Thank you so much for all of the awesome memories. Watching you close all those big important games, dude. You're an awesome pitcher. You are a gentleman and a scholar, sir. I wish I could shake your hand, but you know. So. Huh. And also, I'm wearing this cap, which is I believe this is the Memorial Day Yankee cap, if I'm not mistaken. I'm wearing this in dedication to all the soldiers that showed up yesterday to the All-Star game, all the veterans who came through, and all the active soldiers who were actually watching while overseas. Big ups to you guys. Hope all of you can come back home. It's unfortunate that some of you haven't. That some of you have, but not living. Guys, I'm going to say it, and I'm going to be honest. I may not necessarily agree with certain things, certain aspects of the war, and or whatever like that. War on terrorism, but you guys go out there and you defend our freedoms. At least that's their reasoning behind going out there. And to be honest, I thank you. I thank you, and I say this on behalf of all of my YouTube viewers and all of us here in the U.S. Thank you very much. Your efforts, your hard work, all of that, we appreciate that very much. Now, as far as the Ether shirt, see, Ether is tomorrow. I might upload this video tomorrow on the day of Ether. So by the time this uploads, it might actually be the day of Ether, because it's the 17th right now, and Ether is on the 18th, and that's the all hip hop Ether. So I'm gonna be going to that one. I might even upload this after the Ether party. And you're probably wondering why it's a little off center. Well, when I was drawing the shirt up, because I did this by hand, when I did the shirt, I didn't realize it was a little off center. So to make up for it, I put this on the collar, off center on purpose. Hey, it's a great way to save. Anyway, yeah. Don't mind me. I'm actually paying attention to my Facebook also, because remember how I told you in the last vlog, I'm having problems with the internet connection and stuff. So I'm actually on my phone right now. I'm actually on my phone checking out Facebook, as you can tell. And waiting for people to contact me and stuff. Alright, so very interesting thing that's been going on these last couple of days, these last 2 weeks, as a matter of fact. And speaking of the red, white, and blue, yeah, I know it's not a flag. I mean, if this were the streets, yeah, it'd be a flag. But to be honest, there has been a lot going on in this country as far as everything that's been going on with certain things that have been going on in the media. And to be honest, and don't mind me, I'm a little stuffy. I'm a little stuffy, a little, whatever. So I was cleaning the other day, and I accidentally inhaled some, like, dirt. And it kind of messed me up. Something that is very important, though, going back into what I was talking about, there has been a lot of back and forth in the last couple of days because of something that has gone on in regards to things that have been going on in the media. Now, I said I wasn't gonna dive into this subject. I said this on my Facebook, but I feel compelled to say at least a little something about it. And I'm gonna talk about the recent trial that just passed, the George Zimmerman trial. And to be honest, I'm gonna try to help with this, the peace process. Because really, just beefing and everything, it's not gonna solve anything. It's really not. Alright. Let me get to what I'm talking about. George Zimmerman was found not guilty in the court case, obviously. People are in an uproar. And there are people that are like, oh, all of a sudden people know about the law and this, that, and the third, and they become law experts and blah, 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 blah. Listen, the man clearly was guilty of killing Trayvon Martin. And he was supposedly, his fate was supposedly decided by a group of his peers. Now, I have a lot of things that I kind of don't agree with towards the whole court case. I've stayed quiet about it, but like I said, now that I'm speaking about it, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. People might not necessarily agree with me. I might actually lose a couple of YouTube viewers, but you know what? It has to be said. Okay, first of all, the stand your ground law. I have a beef with the prosecution on this basis. Why was Zimmerman's lawyers, the only ones using the stand your ground law in their defense? To be honest, Zimmerman followed Trayvon Martin. He was following Trayvon. Especially after the 911 operator told him to leave him alone, stop pursuing him. He kept on pursuing him. Now, one of my good friends, one of my brothers, he was like, oh, if someone's gonna come and attack me, I'm gonna shoot them down too. Okay, but what happens when you flip the script and you're on the side of the person being followed? You're not gonna react. You're not gonna say, hey, what the hell? Why are you following me? Leave me alone. That's exactly what a lot of people who are in defense of Zimmerman seem to forget. Zimmerman followed Trayvon up until the point, and maybe Trayvon might have attacked him, but Zimmerman provoked it. And there's a lot of people that are going to say, oh, he didn't provoke it. He was doing what he was his civic duty as neighborhood watch. Listen, the kid was just walking through the neighborhood. That's it. He was on his way home. He was talking to one of his homegirls on the phone. I don't know if it was his girlfriend or whatever. He was talking to a girl on the phone. The boy, was carrying some snackage. That's it. Innocent enough. And I think he was coming from his father's house, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm going based on what I had read in the newspapers. So, But, he followed him. He followed him from point A to point B. And of course, anybody that's anybody is going to look over their shoulders, see someone following them, and instantly, hey, what the hell? What are you doing? Why are you following me? Leave me alone. I'm minding my own business. Mind your business. What are you doing? George Zimmerman obviously could not mind his own business, and he has been known. He was known, and this was said in the newspapers. He was known as someone who was a bit of a troublesome individual because he used to like to report people and like to start with people, his neighbors, and such like that. So, of course, all of that probably didn't even get brought up in the court case. Maybe it might have, but considering the outcome of the case, I doubt it. So he was known as someone that was a bit troublesome. He followed the kid. He shot the kid dead. The kid obviously was trying to defend himself because this guy kept on following him. And to be honest, if you're defending yourself, are you really in the wrong if you're trying to protect yourself and someone that you don't even know from a hole in the wall is just following you randomly? Are you wrong for that? I mean, really, honestly, are you wrong? I don't think he was wrong in defending himself. And don't get me wrong, if Trayvon threw the first punch, then okay, I could see Zimmerman defending himself. But if the kid is just using his hands, use your hands. Look, I'm not someone that's saying that's anti-gun. Okay, I am not anti-gun whatsoever. I don't believe in taking away people's, taking away guns and whatever like that. I'm not one of those people that are gonna like, oh, guns are the major issue because guns can't load themselves and they can't shoot themselves. And I've said this in I believe I said this in another vlog. Guns cannot load themselves, they cannot aim themselves, and they cannot shoot themselves. You don't blame the gun, you blame the individual. Zimmerman pointed that gun at that kid. Shot him dead. I understand he stood his ground and defended himself, but you can't necessarily play victim when you're the one that provoked the situation. And he was judged by a group of his peers. Now, if anyone knows some of the details of the court case, like I know some details of the actual in courtroom whatever. It's pretty much been all over the media. All of the jurors were female, and there was only one minority female. There was only one minority, and they were Hispanic. Not a single black male on that jury. All of them were white, except for one. One was Hispanic, and they were all female. And there were only 6 jurors. Now, as far as race relations are concerned, don't you think it should have been a little bit more evenly, dispersed as far as jurors? Like, don't you think they should have had at least one or two, you know, black jurors on there? There weren't. Now, race shouldn't play a part in the actual outcome of the case. However, knowing how this case was going, there is some talk that they purposely did not choose any black jurors for the specific reason that it was a black kid that was shot. A lot of people are making a hoopla over it and think that it's because it's a black kid that got shot. It's not just that it was a black child that was shot by a white dude who some are like, oh, but he was also Hispanic. I'm going to get on that in a second. It was the fact that a child was shot. That's the big deal. And everybody's like, oh, but kids get shot every day. Teenagers get shot every day. Why is this such a big case? Because of the content of the case. Because a law is in the spotlight of the case. The stand your ground law, which I can agree with and I kind of don't agree with. The stand your ground law, I can kind of agree with the concept of the law, but at the same time I kind of don't agree with the whole, whatever. A person should have a right to defend themselves. They should. But they shouldn't have to use extreme force in order to do so. You shouldn't have to use extreme force if it's like one individual. Just one. So it's a little, I think, a little much. And people are saying, oh, but we should totally abolish the stand your ground law. No, we shouldn't totally abolish it. We should put reforms to it. Because if we put reforms to it, using extreme force does not constitute the stand your ground law. It shouldn't constitute the stand your ground law. Because the stand your ground law put a couple of other people in jail, and it didn't put Zimmerman in jail. There was a woman that was being attacked by her husband and a couple of his friends, being provoked. And they went to her house. And all she did, she utilized the stand your ground law too. She took out a shotgun, pulled it out, but instead of shooting at the people, she shot it up in the air. She shot a warning shot. She got 20 years behind that one. Where's the fairness in this one? 20 years, didn't shoot anybody, and the only thing that they got her on was that the gun wasn't registered. That constitutes a 7-year stint. Why did she get 20 years? It doesn't make any sense. Unless there's certain bylaws under there that's like, oh, okay, she has to get. But why 20 years? Why couldn't it just be the 7 years? That constitutes 7 years. I mean, it's an unregistered firearm. Okay. 7 years. But, and then there's another gentleman that actually did the stand your ground law didn't work for, and he went to jail recently. But Zimmerman walked scot-free. And everyone goes and says, oh, but there's this, there's that, they went according to the law. Okay, they went according to the law, but there was a lot of things that were just a little, okay. I don't necessarily agree with it. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that you let a child killer walk. Regardless of anything else, he killed a child. You let him walk. Now, let's get back to this thing. The female jurors. It's pretty easy to understand that they played on the whole, I'm guessing. This is what I'm guessing. They played on the whole attraction thing with Zimmerman, because Zimmerman is not an ugly dude. He's not an ugly dude. Not by a long shot. I could see females taking to him, he's cute. So I could see how they would play to the emotions of the females, saying that, he's not an ugly dude. He's not. So fairly easy to make the ladies swoon over him, which is probably what they did. But if they didn't, which I doubt, And yeah. Now, what makes it seem like all of a setup was the last images from the court case when they said not guilty. The judge was smiling. A judge is supposed to be impartial. Unless it's like TV. Like Judge Mathis. uh, 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 unless it's like, like on TV with Judge Mathis and Judge Judy and stuff like that. But this is an actual court case. Like, this is a nationwide kind of big thing. Why are you going to smile giving the verdict? Why are you going to smile at the fact that you're letting a child killer walk? Are we going to have our judges smile at every court case now? Oh, you went and shot like 30 people, but because you somehow made the jurors swoon over your ruggish good looks, we're going to let you off. Have a good day. You're not guilty. Nah, dude. Nah. It's freaking stupid. It is. Everything about this case is kind of stupid. And honestly, I believe that the prosecution should have also utilized the stand your ground law in defense of Trayvon Martin's actions. Because, to be honest, like I said, if you're being followed, you're going to be like, what the hell? What's going on? What's the deal? But they didn't. And there's a possibility that this case could go federal. And if it does, things might turn out differently. Hey, who knows? It might. The only thing that I do ask for, though, and I'm going to say this to you guys, and I know this has to do with race and everything like that. The case is not supposed to have to do with race, but I'm going to flip the script on you. Okay. Suppose... Jesus Christ. My nose is starting to drip a little bit. I don't have any napkins. Suppose Trayvon would have been white. Now you're looking at a case that's totally different, because it would have been the Hispanic male that killed the white kid. You know how many people have brought that up? Jesus Christ. That's why race is kind of like an important thing, and that's why a lot of people feel kind of betrayed by the justice system. Because if the roles were reversed, the shoes were on the other foot, or whatever, then it would have played out a little bit differently. Zimmerman would have gone to jail. A lot of people feel, and honestly, he probably would have gone to jail because of stuff like that, because it would have played out like that. To be honest, I don't agree with the fact that they let a child killer walk, but I can't do nor say anything about it. I mean, I'm saying something about it here on my vlog because it's my vlog. And I'm sure, like I said, I'm probably going to lose a lot of viewers behind this. But this is how I feel. This is my vlog. This is my view. And if you do not like it, you do not agree with it, you don't have to view the vlog. You don't even have to like the vlog. You can pay attention to the other videos, or you can just totally not watch my shit altogether. And I cursed. There we go. First curse. Shit. Second time. To be honest, people, it's all about fairness. And we have to maintain some level of peace. Because to be quite honest, rioting, violent acts, all that stuff, It's not going to do anything. Protesting is one thing. Peacefully protesting is one thing. Protesting where you're going to go and commit some kind of crime while you're going and protesting a situation is a totally different ball game. You're not going to get people to pay attention to what you're talking about because they're not going to see the message. They're not going to hear the message. They're only going to see the violent acts. So people, I implore you, if you're going to protest, protest peacefully. Do not be stupid and go out there and riot and cause, property damage and all this other stuff and go tagging up. Like, listen, I love graffiti as much as the next person. But do not go, publicly vandalizing, personal, private property or anything like that in response to this court case, because you're not going to get your point across. You're not going to get people to agree to listen to what you got to say. You're not going to get people to honestly care, because all they're going to see is the violent act. They're not going to hear the message. They're not going to understand your cause. Do not go out there and make an ass of yourself and everybody that's around you. Just go out there if you're going to protest, and protest peacefully. Now, with that being said, I do hope there is some kind of peaceful resolution behind everything that has happened. I do. Not just for the Martin family, but for everyone in this country, for race relations in general. Because this is just going to cause a bigger rift. And I don't know about any of you, but just be peaceful, people. Violence is not going to solve anything. If you don't agree with the case, you don't agree with the turnout, you don't agree with everything that happened, do it peacefully. People will take you more seriously if you say it peacefully. That's all I can request, that's all I can say, that's all I can ask. I don't agree with the verdict. I don't agree with it at all. But you're not going to see me go into a rage because of it. I've spoken my piece on Facebook the day of the court verdict. I speak my piece now in this vlog. And I shall forever hold my peace after this. I've said what I had to say. And now I'm going to continue to do me. Don't worry about things that are important in my life, like my family, like my wrestling, like my health. That's what's important to me. My girl. This. Oh, this. I almost rubbed my own nipple. This. That's what's important to me. Not this court case. Not George Zimmerman. Unfortunately, the thing that does bother me the most is how this young man's death is going to affect race relations in this country. And not even how his death is going to affect it. How the media's perpetration, how the media's... The media put the case out there. How the media's coverage of his death and the case and all that is going to affect race relations. That is my concern. Ladies and gents, whether you agreed with the court case, you like the court result or not, seek a peaceful resolution. That is all I ask. This is what it's about. That is what it's about. Until next time, folks, this is Necro Black, and I'm out. Peace. Well, there is one more thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. I didn't get to speak to you guys about on the last portion of this vlog. I got a little divvied away because of the whole Trayvon Martin case thing, and I'm gonna speak to you guys about it. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about it. It's a program that NYCHA still congested. Ugh. It is a program that NYCHA is trying to enact that was utilized in other states that is basically unfair to people as far as people seeking, permanent housing and stuff. It's a program called Moving to Work, and apparently, it's a 5-year program. Now, here's the deal: if NYCHA enacts this program, all the tenants in this building and in these other buildings, because I live in NYCHA also, New York City Housing Authority, all the people that are going to be living in NYCHA houses are going to be put to work, and they have 5 years to be put to work. Now, a lot of people who have tried to defend this program, looked it up and all that other stuff, are like, oh, but this is going to help people look for work or whatever like that. Yeah, that's what they say, but that's not what they're actually doing. Here's the deal: if they're helping you look for work, how are they helping you look for work when they're forcing you to do free labor for NYCHA? Because technically speaking, your work is paying your rent for staying in these apartments. How is it helping you look for work? And then, on top of everything else, yes, my nose is still dripping. You know what? Before I even continue this, let me get myself some damn tissue. Oh. Oh, man. Oh. Come on, tissue. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Getting back to what I was talking about. NYCHA will force their tenants to work in these buildings, in NYCHA property, for 5 years. And during the course of that 5 years, you're working to stay in your apartment. Now, after for 5 years, whether you found work and are able to pay rent or anything like that, you are going to be evicted from the apartment. Now, I know you're probably like, wait, what? Evicted? But I'm working here. What if you're God damn it, I did it again. What if you're a person who's living in New York City public housing, in New York City Housing Authority? What do you do if you're working for NYCHA? Well, one, the whole concept of NYCHA is the whole reason that they're doing this is because apparently they're $60 million in the hole. They're apparently in debt right now. And the whole concept of this is because of the fact that it's costing them more money every day for people who, for the reason being that a lot of the tenants and stuff like that, or a lot of people that come to these buildings, damage the property. They damage the elevator doors. They pee in the staircases. They damage the light fixtures. They go and they do graffiti in the buildings. You have a lot of people that do drugs in the buildings that actually leave their paraphernalia in the staircases and in the hallways. You have people that occasionally will throw shit down the incinerator and cause fires and stuff like that, or stoppages. And all that costs money. So this program, I'm assuming, is, well, actually, this program, and a friend of mine brought this up. He's on We Are All Savages. We Are Savages on YouTube. Check them out, by the way. Housing is going to utilize this program. And, they say that, a lot of people say, well, there's got to be a screening process behind this, because you have people that have been living in housing for 20 plus years, and you have people you have entire families that have been in the housing authority, that lived in apartments and stuff like that. And it's not necessarily fair to them. And you're right. It's not fair to them. It's totally not fair for them. My mother fought for her apartment after my grandmother had my grandmother had moved, and then a year or so later, my grandmother passed away. But my mother had been on the lease, or at least had been fighting to be put on the lease. And once she was put on the lease, which was kind of late, after my grandmother passed, Nitro wanted to kick my mother out. And my mother fought and fought and fought and fought and fought. Finally getting the apartment. After years of trying. Finally got the apartment put under her own name, and finally got the apartment for herself and for the family. Now, the whole deal about this is, and the reason why I mentioned that, is because of the fact that housing, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing most of the time. Because of the fact that there'll be times where they'll schedule an appointment where they want to come and do an inspection in the house. They want to come and, check out the apartment, see how the conditions in the apartment are, and everything of that sort, see if everything is up to code. And they'll say it's on this day, but we won't get the paper until about literally a day before the thing, or on the day of. And yes, I say we because, it's part of my family. So, NYCHA has been known for screwing up. So for those who are saying, well, there's got to be a screening process, I mean, they're not going to do that to everybody, to the working families and stuff like that. Yeah, they are. They're probably going to try to force the working families to quit their jobs so they can work in the building to pay off their rent. And then after 5 years of service to NYCHA, they're going to boot the family out of the apartment that they worked so hard to keep, so they can move another family in to do the work for NYCHA for free. It's the return of the indentured servant, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. That's what this program basically is. Everybody who's going to stay in these apartments, the heads of household or any other family member thereof, is going to become an indentured servant to New York City Housing Authority. That's basically what this is. It's slavery in a sense, but really not. Sorry about that, folks. My niece keeps coming out of the room. I'm watching her right now. But yeah. So, getting back to what I was talking about, it's basically the return of the indentured servant. And I understand, housing is, a bit, in the hole as far as finances are concerned and everything, but this is still wrong, because regardless of whether or not a family manages to be able to maintain the rent, regardless of the fact that a family is able to maintain the rent in order to keep the roof over their head, housing's looking to pull the rug right from under their feet and swoop on under there and hand them the eviction notice to boot them out. It's not right. It's not right at all, because I'm asking all of you guys that are out there who are still viewing this video, Oh wait, hold on. Sorry. Sorry about that. Got a message. Um, even if you work towards keeping your apartment and everything, they're still going to swoop in and take the apartment from under your feet. So really, what is the real? How is this helping people out? I mean, what happens to the people that don't necessarily find a paying job in order to maintain the rent, and don't necessarily find it within the first 2 or 3 years of working for NYCHA and the first 2 or 3 years of the 5-year program? What happens to them then? They got to save up money to find an apartment. They got to save up money to do all this. Meanwhile, they have to maintain their rent, their bills, taking care of their family. How are they supposed to do this? NYCHA's not thinking about that. All NYCHA's caring about is we have to take care of our debt. We have to take care of the finances that we're missing. It's unfair. It really is. What can be done? There's a protest that's going to go on at Pace University around Brooklyn Bridge. As far as whether or not that's going to actually happen, I don't know if it's going to affect anything, how it's going to affect anything, but I'm hoping that it does affect something, and it does cause NYCHA to reconsider utilizing this program, because the program, it really isn't fair to anyone. Yeah, it's kind of fair to those who do the damage to the buildings. It's forcing them to clean up after themselves. Cool. But what about the people that don't do that to their buildings? What about my family? What about, the other good families that I know that don't go out there and do drugs in the staircases, don't do graffiti in the elevators or in the staircases or in the lobbies or in the hallways or anything like that, that don't leave garbage out in the hallways, that don't toss their garbage out the window. Like right now, I guarantee you, if I were to lift this laptop and show you right outside this window, there is trash right outside this window, because there's a mini roof right under this window. The window's here, and the top of the roof is right here. And people from the upper floors like to throw stuff like to throw garbage out of their windows onto this mini roof, and we got to deal with it during the summer. It's the summertime now. Fortunately, it hasn't rained like too crazy, and nobody's thrown like things that they used to throw back in the day, like rotten meat and old food still in the can and all that other stuff. But they've thrown other stuff like dirty diapers and books and electronics and all that other stuff. It's terrible. For them, people like that program works perfectly for them. But for people like us who work, pay our bills, don't do damage to the buildings, complain about when the damage is done to the buildings, why do we got to deal with it? I don't know if you heard that yelling just now. That was coming from the hallway. Ah! Damn it! Ugh. What? I'm doing this. Ugh. So yeah. So what about those people that actually do something, try to do positive by the building, and actually try to maintain? What happens to us? Because yeah, I live in public housing also. That's right. And we got to deal with it too. We got to deal with this stupid ass program too. We got to be the ones that have to deal with the BS because of them, because of people like that. I'm gonna show you. As a matter of fact. Let me see. I'm gonna unplug this. I'm gonna unplug this. Let me see. Well, I tried to show you guys, but apparently the camera's not good enough to pick up the outside, because the light from the sun is actually too bright for this. So just take my word for it. There's trash over there by the windows where the bedrooms would be at. And there's trash right here, but not much. But there's more trash on this side of the roof. That should tell you exactly how bad it is. And this is a very, very light day. You'll have people that would throw. They used to throw like old meat from that they found that they had in the freezer that was no longer good to cook. They would toss it out the window. Dirty diapers, shoes, sneakers. Uh, they threw a whole mess of stuff out this window. Out, not this window, but out in front of these windows. And it's terrible. It's terrible because people don't know how to act. People don't know how to, you know, people don't know how to. People don't know how to act like decent human beings. They have to act like animals. You know, that's my complaint, and that's why I guess housing feels like this program is worth something. That this program is worth a try, and if it goes through, if it happens, everyone in public housing is screwed. Everyone, from the good ones like my family and a couple of other families that are on this floor, to the ones that take advantage and do all the dumb crap that goes on in these buildings. Let's hope this crap, this dumb program, doesn't happen. Because if it does, we're all screwed. Well, at least us in public housing are screwed. Anyway, this has been a Necro Black vlog. A two-part, two-piece, yin, smash. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm Necro Black, and I'm out. Peace. Really? You're not working? Oh, you are working. I did it wrong. Totally did it wrong. Peace. Oh, man. I can't believe I messed that one up.